you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
all in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Lafleur. Oh!
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the ball!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Stanley pour les Canadiens, le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs! And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup!
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vida Tibi. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
Marinaro, the Sick Podcast on this Friday, March 28th. Usually I'm not in on Fridays, but Matt couldn't make it. And besides, I would have been here anyway because there are only 11 games left for the Montreal Canadiens going into this one. And now after this one, there are only 10. Before the night started, the Montreal Canadiens were holding on to the second wild card spot. Unfortunately for the Montreal Canadiens, this one was not a very good night because the Canadiens lost again. Vancouver is in Columbus. What a game this is. It's unbelievable. I don't know if it's over by now, but I'm trying to do two things at once. And the last time I checked, it's 6-6 in a shootout. So if there's a winner, I'm sure Agnello will let me know. Brian Wilde and Pierre McGuire standing by. They're going to join us in just a second. Make it 5. Make it 5 losses in a row now for the Montreal Canadiens. I have to tell you that there's something that I've been saying for several weeks now, and that is, even though the Montreal Canadiens have had a tough schedule before in the past, I was really concerned about these last 4 games to end the month of March on the road. 4 games in 5.5 days. I knew it was going to be tough versus St. Louis. I thought they were going to do well versus Philadelphia. They did not. 2 games and 2 nights versus Carolina, travel included, and make it 3 games and 4 nights. And on Sunday afternoon, the Montreal Canadiens are going to play game 4 in a span of 5.5 days because the game is going to be at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Whether it was Montembeault on Tuesday or Dobesh last night or Montembeault tonight, it hasn't worked out. And the Canadiens clearly have more than goaltending issues. They look like they have hit the traditional wall. They look like they are out of gas. And the big question now, seeing as the schedule is not going to get that much easier between now and the middle of April when it's over in the next 10 games, how do they end up filling up with gas if it looks like they're out of gas right now? The last time they went through a really bad streak of 1-7-1, I've just been told that the Blue Jackets won the game. Isn't that bad news for the Canadiens? Because the Blue Jackets now have picked up 2 points. 2 points for the Blue Jackets, and we'll bring up the standings a little bit later. And just to let you know that the Rangers, they're starting their game right now versus the Ducks in Anaheim. So the last time the Canadiens were on a bad streak, it was a streak of 1-7-1. They had lost 8 of 9 games right before the Four Nations face-off. But then they had a 2-week break at the Four Nations face-off, and the only members of the Montreal Canadiens that were actually working for those 2 weeks were Samuel Montembeault, Yoel Armia, and Patrick Laine. Some of the Montreal Canadiens' best players were resting down south. Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, Juraj Slafkovsky, Mike Matheson, Lane Hudson. They were all off. They came back, and they got off to a record of 5-0 after the Four Nations face-off. But then now all of a sudden, they're below 500 in the last 11 games that they've played, and in which they only have 10 points in their last 11 games. Not a good night for the Canadiens, not a good road trip. It's time for the McGuire Report.
The McGuire Report. Presented by Vago Italian.
Vago opened 23 years, longevity. Not many restaurants open that long. Private dining rooms for any occasions, birthday, engagements, corporate meetings. Plenty of free parking after 6. Open Monday to Saturday evenings and lunch. Tuesday to Friday. Fresh quality ingredients. Old world Italian classics and new Italian. Come see Tommaso, the most popular man in Westmount, and his partner Angelo in the kitchen. Pierre McGuire, how are you?
I'm well. Tony, how you doing?
extremely well. Pierre, extremely well. And we're going to bring in Brian Wilde. And brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, a leading full-service logistics provider serving all of North America, driven to be different. Brian's going to join us as well. Brian, are you there?
I am there, Tony, but my...
All right, we don't hear Brian. That's what do you want to do? It's not a great start, but we'll fix it. Agnello and Sammy, if you can, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Pierre, we've been talking about this team running out of gas. We've been talking about them hitting a wall. Tonight, they started well. It's something that they haven't done in a while. They actually started well. They got the first goal of the night. Carrier kicks it to Dvorak, to Gallagher, to Josh Anderson on the left side, right-handed shot, one-timer. Beautiful goal, Pierre. They start well. They tried. The effort was there, but it just wasn't enough.
No, and you're not going to win on the road with 15 shots. There was a lot of one-and-dones, and there were a lot of one but no pucks to the net. Carolina is a really tough team to play against. They went 11-7 to get Caden Gooley in the lineup. I think that was a smart move by their coaching staff. Gooley still obviously played almost 20 minutes, a little less, 19 minutes change. He's still rusty. You can obviously see that, but he does give you some hope for the future, which is exciting. But no, this is a team that tried, Tony. You got to give them – they were better tonight than they were in St. Louis, and they're better tonight than what they were in Philadelphia. But they're running on fumes right now. That's where they are.
And the Montreal Canadiens right now are out of a playoff spot. They have 75 points, the same as the Columbus Blue Jackets. And Columbus has one game in hand on the Montreal Canadiens. They have the same amount of wins. They got a game in hand. They got Sean Monahan back a couple of games ago, and they've won 2 games in a row. And, of course, once again, the Montreal Canadiens have now lost 5 in a row. The Canadiens have 1 point more than the New York Islanders, and the New York Islanders have a game in hand on the Canadiens. They have 1 point more than the New York Rangers, who have played the same amount of games. And if the Rangers win tonight, they're going to end up having 1 point more than the Montreal Canadiens as well. This has been a very, very difficult road trip. Brian is back. Brian, are you there?
Yeah, sorry, that was my fault. I opened an app on the phone and the AirPods automatically switched from the laptop to the phone. I've got to understand modern technology just a little bit better than I do.
Don't worry about it. All right. Okay. We're just talking with Pierre. I mean, they tried. The effort was there, but you can't give what you don't have. And they don't have much left right now. And geez, I think it's going to be really difficult on Sunday afternoon in Florida because this team needs a vacation.
Yeah, I think Sunday afternoon is going to be difficult. And Tony, you mentioned going into this road trip that the matchups weren't good. The travel schedule wasn't good. The compressed schedule wasn't good. So this has been kind of expected. But with that said, I think they'll get an opportunity in their final 9 to play 6 at home and 3 on the road with very limited travel. Toronto, Ottawa, close by, no customs. Nashville's the only tough trip, but not a strong team. So I think they can regroup. I'm not expecting much Sunday, but I do believe that with weaker opposition in the, especially the 6 games at home, then they can regroup. And right now with Columbus's win, I mean, they're only 1 point back. I mean, it's not like it's 7 or 5 or even 3. It's just 1. So it feels kind of sour tonight, but in the long picture, I think we're okay.
Pierre, Caden Gooley praised the Montreal Canadiens medical team and the doctors that operated on him. He said he was hoping he was going to be back, but he had no idea that he was going to be back this soon with 10 games left. And by the way, I don't know if anyone's paying attention, but there's a lot of Montreal Canadiens players this year who came back before we thought that they would. We thought Patrick Laine, based on what we heard at the beginning, would be out for the rest of the season. He was back on December 2nd. We thought that Caden Gooley could be out until the playoffs if they made it. He's back with 10 games left. We thought that David Reinbacher would probably be back with 3 or 4 weeks left in the season. He was back probably on skates about a month before that. Pierre, they've done a really good job of getting their players back in time.
Oh, 100%. No, the only one that's been out for a long period of time is Kirby Dach, you know, when you really think about it. But that's it. They've done a really good job as a medical team. They deserve a lot of credit there. Look, the truth is they're playing, and I keep saying this, they're playing with house money. This team's a rebuilding team. You know, they're neutral. They're huge holes in this group. There's no second line center. There's not a lot of right shot defensemen. They're running bare bones in the back end. Matheson's out of gas. Mike Matheson is giving you everything he has. He's out of gas. A swing moment in this game was his turnover, which leads to a penalty, which leads to a power play goal. If he's got energy, if he's got strength, if he's got willpower, like he usually does, that's not even a play. It's done. It's over. But he's out of gas. People need to understand that. I'm not making excuses for them. It's just a fact. But the Medicals team has done a fantastic job.
I think it's personally, I think it's ridiculous. Everyone that's shitting all over Mike Matheson, all over social media, basically saying he's no good. Anyone who says that doesn't know much about hockey. Mike Matheson's mental mistakes are all being caused by the fatigue. You can see it. Anyone who doesn't see it needs to put on their glasses. But I want to talk about another defenseman, all right? And I'm not here to defend Matheson, by the way, because I know what a mistake is, and I know when he makes them, but I also know when he makes mistakes, when he makes a mistake, and when he makes a mistake because he's just drained. He's drained right now. He's hit a wall. He needs to go. He needs to go to Club Med, not even somewhere where he can relax even more than Club Med, because Club Med's a party vacation. Guys, I want to talk to you about Arber Xhekaj. Brian, here's a player that this year in a game in the third period only played 3 seconds. And his coach said, and let's keep in mind that in the second period of that game, he committed at the blue line and the puck went over his head for a 2-on-1 the other way, and the opposition scores. His coach said, well, we went on a few power plays and he was cold. And then all of us, I didn't want to put him out there cold. So I didn't put him out there. He was out for 3 seconds. In the last several games, he is the least used Montreal Canadiens defenseman, even a lot less used than David Savard, who's having a really, really hard time moving. Savard is gasping for air. He looks like he's about to fall down himself. And Arber Xhekaj is getting a lot less minutes. The Canadiens went to 7D tonight. And guys, if there's my only qualm that I have here, it's this one, okay? They went to 7D tonight. They have a big game on Sunday afternoon in Florida. They've hit the wall. Arber Xhekaj played 3.5 minutes, guys. He played 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, well, I don't know if Brian wants to take it. Brian, you want to go with that for a second?
No, go ahead. If you got a thought, let's hear it. I'll follow you up.
What he did in the second period, which creates a 2-on-1, rather than play a 3-on-2, I'm sitting him down too when I got 7D.
Pierre, I watched the
I'm sitting his butt down, Tony. I'm sorry. Okay. And I've done it before. I did it in a Stanley Cup final with Gordy Roberts. Trust me.
Pierre, look at this. I don't know if you can see it here. I'll put it right here, right? 3-on-2. Xhekaj goes for a hit that's not there. Jarvis to Aho, and the score is 3-1. I hear you 1,000%. Is it a time to be sending a message? They've all hit the wall. They're playing their third game and 4 nights travel included. They're going to play their fourth in 5.5 days. They played last night. They're dead tired. Is it time to send a message right now?
Yeah, it is. That's called creating standards. And you're going to live by the standards a long time. It's not one game. It's 50 games. It's 5 seasons. It's 3 seasons. It's not one shift. But that one shift cost them a lot. There are 2 turning points in this game. There's the Matheson play and there's the Xhekaj play. Those are disastrous plays. You got to eliminate those.
I would say there's a couple of turning points because Nick Suzuki and Alex Newhook also missed a breakaway, but I'm with you, Pierre. But Brian, I want to throw this at you, right? And all due respect to Pierre, all the experience he has, at the end of the day, I'm sure he's right. But just for the sake of talking here, so let's talk, all right? But how about, because you're benching Xhekaj and you've now played Caden Gooley, who hadn't played in 27 games. We were wondering if Gooley was going to be brought in slowly but surely. He played 19 minutes. Mike Matheson, who we're saying is dead tired, though, played 22 minutes. How about if Matheson would have got hurt tonight, because that fatigue would have led to a mental mistake, which would have led to a physical injury?
Well, here's where I think, try to put myself into the head coach's shoes. And if I'm a head coach, I've taken this group, and I'll use the word we here as I'm pretending I'm the head coach. And we've gone all this way, and we're in a position we're not supposed to be. And I've told them, come along with me. Let's fight for every piece of ice. Come along with me. Let's fight every minute. Let's be in the mix. Let's be in the conversation. Let's show the NHL we're not doormats. So if I'm sending that message to my players and I'm saying I need you, 100% of you, all the time, I can't then send a message that my defenseman, who's allowed 6 5-on-5 goals in the last 4 games, gets to make a giant mistake and gets to keep playing hockey. It has to be that way. He has preached accountability, and even when accountability is really, really hard, you got to keep preaching it. You got to keep sending the same message. You can't switch messages right now. So if he makes a bad error, you got to face the punishment of that error. And here's the stats around it: 5-on-5 on this road trip, and they've been playing bad. Lane Hutson's been on for 1 5-on-5 goal against. That's why he's playing all those minutes. Arber Xhekaj's been on for 6. It's the worst on the team.
Yeah.
That's why he's getting this limited minutes.
Yes.
That's the way it's got to be. And so his balance is really hard, right? Because he's looking at Matheson and he's saying, this guy's hitting the wall. But he's still a quality defenseman. And that's why I think Pierre's just spot on with his point that I first heard when these things started working.
Okay, so you're I'm going to say
they're hitting the wall. Yeah,
you're both right. You can't tell me there's a much shorter leash on Arber Xhekaj, and I understand that. Okay, he's the defenseman that Marty St. Louis trusts less than everybody else. I think the whole world has seen that by now. We understand that, and he's probably, from a talent perspective, the one who actually offers less than most. I get that, but jeez, I don't know, man. Everyone's so tired, and you have an opportunity here. You're playing 7D. I never coached a game in my life, and I never will. But I don't know. I think I would have had Robida talk to Xhekaj, obviously, and Xhekaj doesn't play the next game versus the Florida Panthers. That's the message I'm sending. Next game versus Florida, you're playing 6D, and the guy who's out is going to be Xhekaj. Sending a message tonight in a second period of a back-to-back with travel included, with 3 of 4 with travel included, when you're going to play 4 in 5.5 days with travel included, I don't know.
So I'm gonna play the other side. Haven't been in the room before. They needed him to step up big in St. Louis when they were getting pushed around and throttled. Yeah, that's his time to step up and do exactly what you're saying he needed to do. Yes. He wasn't tired in that game. They played on Saturday night. He wasn't tired. He didn't do it. He didn't do it.
No, he didn't. So, and we talked about that. And I said to you that you were right.
Those guys have way shorter leashes. Trust me on that one.
I totally trust you. But
this is a coach telling him, you had your chance Tuesday night. You didn't do it. Our team didn't play well last night. We're dressing 7D. We're not taking you out. We're taking Joshua and Wilde. So you stand and deliver. You play the way you need to play. He didn't. He's out.
I would think, too, that when you're a head coach that starts with 7D and Caden Gooley is coming, after missing 24 games, that as a head coach, you're looking to see if Gooley's fine. And once Gooley's fine, you probably always saw the night as a 6D night. Like 7D for them is, I was listening to Aaron Ward today, and longtime defenseman, and he says that's very unsettling, and I'm going to assume that he's correct on that. They don't know who they're going out with that shift. It doesn't help them to be their best selves as 7D. So once he discovered Gooley was fine and could play that many minutes and wasn't really rusty and was really strong in the second and third periods, then it became a 6D game, which I think was his plan all along.
Pierre, can you make the argument too? Because I'm sure some of the best players like the double shift, but you can also make an argument that it doesn't help the forwards because they're always getting another forward that they're not used to playing on their line.
Well, it was you talking about it the other day. There's so many great tandems in the National Hockey League.
Yeah.
This is a league of tandems, not so much threesomes. And the other thing that's disconcerting from tonight, the top trio for Montreal is ding, 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 ding.
So why?
-2. -2. I'll tell you why. That's the best checking team in the league. So they loaded up.
They got ate up by Aho.
They got loaded up.
Blake and Seth Jarvis, and Jacob Slavin was on the ice every time they were on the ice, and they stifled them. They ate them up and they spit them out tonight.
Yeah.
And you know what? The Canadiens' number one line has done that to a lot of teams this year.
Yep.
They've done that to a lot of teams. But tonight, they went up against a team that wanted him. By the way, Aho could have probably had a couple more points tonight.
You're right.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting?
Yeah.
People at home don't realize the importance of last change. Last change matters. It happened a lot tonight. Mattered a lot. Last change mattered a lot tonight.
Jacob Slavin's best defensive defenseman in the National Hockey League, Pierre?
Night to night, I'd say yes.
Brian?
Night to night.
I would agree. And look at the Four Nations. He was probably the best defensive defenseman in that tournament. So let's just
there are a couple other guys that you could say they're in that. Like I would say Brock Faber's close, but you know he doesn't have the experience of Jacob Slavin. You go around the league, there's every team. Victor Hedman could be the best matchup guy, but if you were to say night to night to night, he's the most consistent for sure.
Yeah, Ryan Donato hat trick tonight. I remember a sports radio host, podcaster, very, very good looking, brown curly hair, bluish green eyes. Color of his eyes changed depending on what color shirt he's wearing. Probably could use a couple of days, weeks, maybe months, years in the gym. I remember that gentleman saying that he would be a pretty good trade target, but the Chicago Blackhawks didn't want to trade him. A hat trick for Ryan Donato tonight. Isn't that something?
He's going to get to 30 goals. I think he's at 28 now.
He is.
Wow.
And the thing that turned his whole career around last spring, he went with his father down to Tampa, and they went to a Russian skating coach. I'm not kidding you. The father, Teddy, who's a longtime NHL player, played over 700 games. He went golfing, and Ryan went skating, and it's totally transformed his career.
Wow. How long ago was that?
Last spring,
last summer, because the knock on Donato, Brian has been his skating, and
Good for
anyway.
him.
So, by the way, bad news for Canadiens fans again. More bad news. The New York Rangers are off to a 1-0 lead on a goal by Adam Fox. So that's not good.
Well,
Adam Fox, former teammate of Ryan Donato at Harvard. Those smart guys are always scoring.
That's right. Those smart guys are always going. By the way, the Columbus Blue Jackets, for those who are wondering, won their game in a shootout tonight, but they pick up the 2 points. Once again, the Montreal Canadiens are out of a playoff spot. We're going to get to your questions, your opportunity to ask Pierre, and your opportunity to ask Brian. The Sick Podcast is brought to you in part by Playground. If you're looking for the ultimate entertainment experience, look no further than Playground. From thrilling gaming and world-class poker to exquisite dining, live music, electrifying DJs, Playground has it all. Delivered with unmatched customer service, conveniently located just minutes from downtown Montreal, right across the Mercier Bridge. While settled for less, when you can have it all at Playground, your top destination for nonstop fun. Visit playground.ca for details. And brought to you in part by Tibi. They launched their new Ultra Lager, refreshing thirst-quenching beer, perfect for nice spring days. Only 90 calories, 2 grams of carbs, 4% ABV per can, available in a pack of 6 and 12 in grocery stores all around the province of Quebec. Ultra light and ultra refreshing. And Yellow and Sammy and Master Control, if you can, bring up the Montreal Canadiens lineup in tonight's game. Suzuki, Slavkovsky, Caulfield, Dvorak, Gallagher, Anderson, Newhook, Liney. Joshua Roy was pulled out of the lineup. Evans and Armia, as well as Heineman. On defense, Matheson, Carrier, Gouli, Savard, Hudson, Xhekaj, Savard, and Jaden Struble. In goal, it was Samuel Montembeault. For the I don't know if we have the visual here for the Carolina Hurricanes. Do we have it? Okay. Aho with Blake on his right and Jarvis on his left. Kotkaniemi with Roslovich on his right and Hall on his left. Stahl with Stankoven and Martinuk. Jankowski with Svechnikov and Robinson on defense. Slavin, Burns, Orlov, Chatfield, Gostisbehere, Walker, and in goal was Freddie Anderson. Let's go to the scoring if we can. All right, Josh Anderson opens the scoring 23 seconds in, and just 18 seconds after that, it's Blake. Brian, Pierre, we talked about the Anderson goal. How did you see the Blake goal going down?
Well, I thought it was just a bit unlucky, to be honest. That's the one that went off Gouli's skate and just kind of bumped to the other side to an open man who was only open because it bounced wrong. This is puck locker hockey, folks. Just get in the offensive zone a lot and good things can happen.
Couldn't agree more. Spot on.
Something important happened prior to that goal, guys. Defensive zone faceoff for the Montreal Canadiens, and Sebastian Aho wins the faceoff, and it goes from Jarvis to the point, and then the point shot goes off of Blake, which goes off of Gouli, which goes off of Suzuki, and it goes in. And, Nick Suzuki, we've been talking about it, right? I think his face-off percentage going into the game was about 51% or something like that, right? A good percentage. But guys, if he wants to be on a Team Canada going forward or whatever, if he can bring his percentage up 6, 7, 8 points and get close to 60%, which is where the elite in the National Hockey League are, those are learning moments, right, Pierre?
They are. 60% is high. But anything above 55 is really good. He's going to have to improve that. There's no question. The Philadelphia game, and I talked to you about it the other day, they're not getting a lot of support from their wingers or board side D. Slavkovsky lost a one-on-one battle yesterday. It leads to, a goal, and that can't happen. It's a key time in the game. They need, it's not just centermen that win faceoffs. It's your support guys on the wall and on the inside part of the ice that help you. And I don't think the Canes are getting a lot of support on faceoffs. At least their centermen are.
In the second period, so the first period ends 1-1, 11-4 the shots on goal for Carolina in that one. Pierre, Montembeault, who has been shaky. We've been talking about the amount of bad goals that he's been given up in the games that he's played. I think it was, 2 bad ones versus Ottawa, 2 bad ones versus the Islanders, 2 bad ones versus the Colorado Avalanche, and 2 bad ones versus the St. Louis Blues. I thought Montembeault I didn't have a problem with his game tonight. I thought he was good.
I thought he had one of his best games. I thought he played really well. This isn't on him at all. I thought he played really well. We talked about it. You go to Carolina, one of the most difficult buildings in the league to play in. You're not winning if you get 15 shots on net. You're not. The fact they stayed in the game as long as they did, that's on their goalie. The goalie played really well.
Brian, Montembeault?
Yeah, clearly just a strong night. No difficulty at all. And he looked to have a little bit more energy than he had, and I think the rest was good for him. I don't think he'll be an issue going forward. He has been strong for most of the season. He's had the odd bad game, but I don't think the issue at all was goaltending tonight. They got stymied by a really, really good hockey team that just gave him nothing.
You think he'll come back with him on Sunday afternoon at 1:00?
Oh, I do. Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Yeah,
100%. The one thing I've done this trip numerous times. It's not that far from Raleigh to Fort Lauderdale, but hotel's very, very close to the airport. So I'm going to say they probably get there by 1:00 in the morning. Tomorrow's probably an off day. They'll have plenty of time to recharge. I'm not as concerned. So no, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. This is if they were coming from New York, it's a lot more difficult coming from Raleigh. It's a lot easier.
Yeah, let's get back to the scoring if we can. All right, so Taylor Hall on the power play, and that was a bang play. I mean, there was some passes there, and it went from Aho wins the faceoff versus what was it? No, it was Jarvis to Blake to Hall. I think it was tic-tac-toe. It was Jarvis to Blake to Hall in the slot. Pierre tic-tac-toe.
But it's to your point about David Savard. David Savard's chasing. He's down on all fours. He's spinning around. He's trying to make himself big. I get it. He's giving a heroic effort, but he's turning like a top. And he's out of position. It opens up a passing seam, and that's why it's bang, bang to the back of the net.
Brian?
That's a hard moment, hey, for a defenseman.
Yeah.
I mean, you do that once, like Hal Gill used to all the time, big octopus getting in the way, and it looks good if you can pull it off once. But when you see how Pierre described it just perfectly, just going around in circles, you know that it's not working.
All right.
You're basically a Great Dane on the rug at that point.
And then you have, what should have been a 3-on-2 leading to a 2-on-1 because Arber Xhekaj goes for a hit in the neutral zone, takes himself out of the play. And then you have, Jarvis and Aho coming at you, and those guys are just too good. And it goes from Jarvis to Aho, and Sebastian Aho makes no mistake. I thought he was man on a mission tonight, Sebastian Aho. That entire first line was. And then Svechnikov in an empty net. He wanted it. Guys, Svechnikov goes for the puck deep in the Canadian zone, and Suzuki goes after it. And Svechnikov, instead of keeping it there, he cuts in and he tries to go back to the net, and Suzuki loses his footing. Like, you could almost see the fatigue on Suzuki, too. Like, he's trying. It's a valiant effort, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, and as we break down the game there, sorry, Pierre, as we break down the game there and we look at goal by goal by goal, the thing that hits me is just when you get to a high level like Carolina plays, a team that has it firing like they do and as intelligently as they play under Rod Brindamore, you can just see how little it takes to lose a hockey game against them. Like
I was just
you
going to
got the
say,
Matheson air, and then you got the Xhekaj air, right?
There was one other play in the first period, and I should have brought it up earlier.
Mhm.
David Savard roughed up Sebastian Aho behind the play. They both got penalties. If you watch Aho, if you try to take him out early in the game and he gets that, he gets ticked off.
Oh, I saw he was so upset when he went to the.
I'm just telling you, I've seen the movie a few times. He gets mad, and when he gets mad, his game goes from here to here fast.
Right, but that moment was actually one that I kind of liked that the Canadiens stood up so strong on. I know you don't want to anger another guy if it motivates him as well as that, but I mean, the puck was already trapped and Montembeault felt that the play was already dead and he put a stick in there and that's what precipitated all of that. And that's a tough moment. Yeah, that's a tough moment.
I understand, but here's what I'll tell you. That there's a difference when you win a playoff series and lose a playoff series. That's that's got to be filed. And you tell guys. I'll give you a case in point. Played Chicago in the 92 final, and we watched Chelios the 3 previous rounds. He was running around like a maniac, taking people's heads off. So we told our guys after every whistle, go talk to him. After every whistle, there was a rule. You had to go talk to Chelios. We got him kicked out of game 3. We drove him nuts. We won game 3, 1-0. We did. Those are little things you got to remember. And I'm telling you, this guy, it's forever. You upset this guy, he goes to another level in a hurry.
And that's why you're bothered by Xhekaj not standing up in St. Louis.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's
game within the game.
The second I saw that, I'm like, you know what? I can't wait to see this player's reaction now. And then when I saw him step up and score that goal, and by the way, like that's a 2-on-1, but like it almost looks like it wasn't easy. It almost looks like he shot that puck with his eyes closed. Like he was just like so focused on scoring and making a difference in the hockey game that I was like, okay, yeah, this guy's a real one. But anyway. What could have been Sebastian Aho with the Montreal Canadiens. Imagine a 1-2 punch of Aho and Suzuki. But anyway, I digress. We'll take questions. Your opportunity to ask Pierre and your opportunity to ask Brian, and we'll take them. So if Agnello and Sammy, you can bring them up at Master Control. Once again, tonight, the Montreal Canadiens are out of a playoff spot. Columbus is ahead of the Montreal Canadiens right now. Is it the pressure, says DJ? They know what the standings are like. Pierre, is it the pressure?
I don't think so. I really don't. I don't think it's pressure at all. I think, in fact, they're embracing the moment. They just don't have a lot of juice left in the tank.
Brian?
Totally agree. I think they're just a tired team who can find their legs in the last 9 games with 6 at home.
Montreal and Columbus both at 75 points, but the Columbus Blue Jackets have 1 game in hand, and that's why they are up on the Montreal Canadiens. Columbus won tonight. They beat the Vancouver Canucks incredibly by a score of 7-6 in a shootout. Like, that is just a crazy, crazy hockey game. And as for the New York Rangers are in Anaheim tonight, and they lead by a score of 1-0 on a goal by Adam Fox, assisted by Panarin and Miller. And that one there is 7 minutes left in period number 1. Back to your questions. Hi, Pierre. Who are your top 3 realistic trade targets Hughes can trade for this summer to fill out the 2C?
I wish I could tell you. I don't know. I really don't. I would tell you in a second. I just don't know realistically what they're going to be looking at, what they're prepared to trade. I'd love to tell you 3 names, the juiciest names of around the league, but I don't want to do that. I don't think it's appropriate.
Brian, do you have a wish list that is realistic?
If Pierre doesn't think it's appropriate, I am not going to think it's appropriate either. No, honestly, man, I'm going to defer to somebody who's been doing this for a very long time. I have a lot of respect for. If he doesn't think it's appropriate to do that, then I'm not going to do it either.
I just don't know what the Canadiens are prepared to pay. So I don't want to get people say, oh, Pierre McGuire said they're going to get this, this, and this. I'm like, I don't know what they want to do. You know, are they bringing Kirby Dach back to be the second center? I don't know. Do they think
they can't? They can't possibly do that. No,
I don't think they will. Do they think Newhook can be the second center? I don't think he can. Do they think Owen Beck can? I don't know if he can or not. I want to hear what they have to say.
Well, we do know at least that, in some of the interviews, I think one was with Pierre LeBrun, that he said he wants to be aggressive. So we don't know what aggressive means in terms of a hockey player, but the word aggressive does seem to indicate they're prepared to give up first round draft choices. That would be an aggressive stance. They have 2 in the mid-teens. That is about a 60% hit rate, the mid-teens, as far as being an NHLer, with only about a 10% hit rate. That's a star. So I think that's first rounders at 15 are a good prize for the team that's rebuilding. So I like that for them, that first rounders. And then any prospect, I would say, not named Fowler, Demidov, and Reinbacher.
Pierre, do you expect...
Is that fair, Pierre?
That's very fair. That's good. I like that way to look at it.
Pierre, do you expect Sam Bennett to re-sign with the Florida Panthers?
I do. I think it's hard to get players out of no-tax states. Sam Reinhart.
Yes.
Sam Reinhart's Exhibit A. He really is. Did they want to keep Brandon Montour there? Yeah, they did. But I know his agent, and Seattle offered him way more money, and Seattle's a no-tax place too. So, I'm just telling you, nobody wants to talk about it in these taxable places, but it's the reality.
Please do.
It's a big deal, Tony.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I talk to agents every day. It's a big deal.
Pierre,
may I add to that?
Yeah.
May I add to Pierre's point? I really like that he's done that, and I don't think we talk about it enough. When you consider how many Canadian teams are in the National Hockey League and look at that as a percentage of the overall teams, mathematically so, just by the pure math of it, a Canadian team should win a Stanley Cup every 4.5 years. That's the math of it. Okay, there are 3 ways to attract talent. The draft, there's no advantage to being American over Canadian in a draft. Trades, there's no advantage. They have to go where they're told to go.
Yep.
Free agency, 33% of building your team. No tax states, man.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Guys,
it's not a coincidence that we're 32 years here.
Anton,
they should have won 8 cups by now.
Anton Lundell's name has been thrown out there on a couple of occasions, but Pierre, here's a player who the Florida Panthers gave, a 5 or a 6 year contract to. It was a 6-year deal. He's in year 1 of 6, so he's got 5 years left after this one. If they signed him to a 6-year deal at $5 million to be their number 3 center, Pierre, it's because they want to keep him around for a long time.
Yeah, sure they do. Well, you want to have 1, 2, 3 punch down the middle. It's pretty good. Pretty good if you keep Bennett.
Yeah. Now, let's just say that Bennett commands so much money that they might feel that they might have to trade Lundell. In your opinion, does he have number 2 potential?
100%. Absolutely. Yeah. There's not a big maybe Aho's got a little more offense, and this guy might be a little bit better defensively, but they're pretty darn similar. He's a really, really talented kid.
Back to the phone lines at 1-888
isn't coming
5856. Let's go to Jacob.
Hi,
Jacob,
guys.
how are you?
Good, you?
Very good, thank you.
Yeah, so a week ago I was really excited about where the Canadiens were heading. In fact, I started a YouTube channel called Jacob Slapshot, and I was excited to cover the remaining of the season and hopefully the playoffs. But this week has been really, really discouraging. A week ago, I believed that not only they could make the playoffs, but that they could maybe even cause a surprise against a team like Washington or something. But now their goaltending, it's not really Monty's fault, but he's clearly overplayed. Matheson is getting overplayed. Their forwards, their top line looks exhausted.
So you started a Montreal Canadiens podcast?
Well, it's not really a podcast. Currently, more of a YouTube channel.
Okay, I got it. Well, I'm glad you're discouraged. There's already too many of them out there. Less there is better.
Yeah, but anyway, at least there's still positivity with, the rebuild. I think next season, adding Reinbacher to the defense core, I think is going to help a lot. I think obviously Demidov, I think is going to add a complete different dimension to their offense, and hopefully they can add a second line center because their team is far, but they're not that far. You know what I mean?
True. Very true, Jacob. Agreed.
I think they're a perfect example, the Canadiens, of Stanley Cup winners and great teams have everybody in their correct seat. If you're a third liner, you're in the third line seat. And then you're playing other guys that are in their third line seat. So when you look at the Canadiens, that second line, you have Laine, who 5-on-5 is not in the right seat. And maybe he can get in the right seat if he's got a 200-foot center that can get the puck out of the defensive zone so he can play offense where he's pretty good, right? But you've got an entire line not in the right seat. And then when they ask Newhook to be the second line, he's in the wrong seat too. But if you say to Newhook, try this as the third line and your competition isn't as severe, then maybe he's in the right seat. And that's what makes a winner. And so, like, when I look at the Canadiens, and even in their top four on defense, I'm again thinking, okay, you've got a good top four, but you don't have a top one. And maybe Goalie is that one day. But again, who's in that seat?
Yeah.
And the winners all have a guy in the seat. Hedman's in the seat. McGuire is in the seat. And it works. And you win championships.
Teams that win championships also have four lines, and they roll four lines, and they have a great fourth line. And the Montreal Canadiens probably had one of the best fourth lines in hockey for about 40 games. And the last 15 games, they probably won one of the least productive fourth lines in hockey. I mean, I haven't gone through all the teams, but I think Armia, Heineman, and Jake Evans, if I read correctly, I think they got a total of like 5 points in the last 15 games.
Yeah, we talked about this last night, Brian, Tony, and I. And ever since Jake got the contract, he has not been the same player. And I don't know if it's because, he's relaxed a bit. I don't know if, he just got mentally stressed out from trying to get the contract. He's not the same player. They got to get him back on. He was a little better tonight. I'll give you that. He was a little better tonight. But they need him. Usually, the identity line they had on Long Island forever was Cizikas and Clutterbuck and Martin.
Yeah.
Cizikas was a guy that drove the line. The centers usually are those depth lines. They're the guys that drive the line. And Jake was driving that line. He's not driving that line right now.
And I will add that Heineman is used to a shorter schedule, and I think he's hit the wall.
I agree.
And Armia has, I think, a wrist injury, so he can't shoot, and he's probably worried about it all game. Right. So all four.
Yep.
Yeah, and you know what? They at one point their record was so much better with Heineman than it was without it. But ever since he came back from his injury as well, it hasn't been great. And you're right. I mean, Emil Heineman has never played more than 52 games. Last year he
and this is
40.
why Hudson's a miracle.
Hudson is a miracle. By the way, I got a message earlier today from someone who said, I'm trying to remember where I got it, but anyway, I got him on so many different platforms that someone said that he was at the game and he saw Hudson in the tunnel, and he said Hudson was in the tunnel, like warming up and moving anxiously, like 5 minutes before every other player was on the Montreal Canadiens. And he said he's just so focused and so in the zone to play all the time. And you're right, Brian. Lane Hudson is a freak of nature. At 5'9" and 159 pounds to start the season, he's not supposed to be playing 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. He's supposed to hit a wall after 40. He's supposed to hit a wall when he's playing 2 and 2. He's supposed to hit a wall when he's playing 3 and 4. Nothing. It was not one of his better games tonight, but once again, I thought it was a masterpiece of a game by Carolina tonight.
They were really good.
Yeah. Back to the phone lines we go. We have, by the way, the Anaheim Ducks have tied the game at 1. Rangers and Ducks are tied at 1. We got Luke.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Hey, Luke.
Thank you guys for spending some time with us tonight. I really appreciate it.
Hey,
that's very kind.
Friday night, what else are we going to do?
In the words of Carey Price, let's just chill and relax a little bit. Every team, New York's lost a bunch of games in the last 10 games. Columbus has lost a bunch of games in the last 10 games. So, it's so we're going through this spell right now. I think that if we win 6 or 5 of the next, I think we have 10 games left, we have a shot at being in the playoffs. But my question is for you guys tonight, do you think it was a big mistake putting 7D tonight when you're only going to give Xhekaj 3 or 4 minutes of playtime?
Pardon me, the Rangers have just taken the lead again by a score of 2-1. There you go. Rangers are up 2-1 on a goal by JT Miller. Go ahead. Pierre?
No, I don't think it was a mistake. As a matter of fact, you had to insure your hand because you didn't know how much Caden Gooley could play. So, no, it was smart. You want to get Gooley up and playing for the rest of these games that you just alluded to. So the ultimate thing is to have a dress rehearsal. He played well enough to show that there's no problem. They'll probably go back to 12-6 on Sunday afternoon. But they needed insurance to go into this game tonight because it was a back-to-back, and they found a way to do it. I don't think that was the issue in the game at all.
Brian?
Yeah, no, it wasn't the issue in the game. The issue was they were just stifled. And when Gooley proved that he could play, I don't think it was an issue. And they will go 12-6. I'd be very surprised if there was 7D on the next night. Now that they know Gooley can go, what will be more interesting for me will be what do the pairings look like?
Yep, I agree with that too.
I got one for you guys. Have you ever thought about what the Canadian season would be like if they didn't trade Jake Allen last year? Is that crazy to think?
No, I don't think
they might have 2 more wins, 3 more wins, which would be big, obviously.
So I don't think that's crazy at all. I think that's a good point.
So if last year they would have said, you know what, we're keeping Allen, who obviously still had a contract last year and this year, and Caden Primo goes back to Laval, and they sent them back. And this year, Primo and Dobesh are splitting duties in Laval, and Jake Allen is there to support Samuel Montembeault. Canadiens are in a playoff spot.
Jake's numbers are unbelievable. His goals saved above expected is top 5 in the NHL. And he's having an amazing season.
I totally agree. And just to back Brian up on that, look at all the injuries they've had on the back end in New Jersey. It's not like they're playing where the murderers are on the back end there. He's done an amazing job. He really has.
Dougie Hamilton's been out.
Yeah, and Caden Primo left the NHL after struggling with an 8.26. So with an 8.26, it means that a 9.10, they might have won some games, and a 9.10 over an 8.26 would have meant a playoff spot probably. At 6 additional points, we're having a different conversation.
I think he was acquired. I think he was traded for a 3rd-round pick, right?
In the end, that's what it'll be because he won't play the requisite number.
What it comes out at.
Yeah. 3rd-round pick in 2025. All right, okay. Let's go to Matt. Matt, are you there?
Yes, sir.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good.
Yes. Hello. I'm here with my 11-year-old son Cooper and Sault Ste. Marie.
Welcome.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Hello. It's a real pleasure to speak to you guys. We've never called before, but we don't get a chance to watch very often together. So on a Friday night, we stayed up late to watch.
That's fantastic. What's your 11-year-old son's name?
My name is Cooper.
Hey, Cooper. Good to talk with you.
Hey, gentlemen.
Gentlemen, hi.
Wow, he tried to remember everybody's last names there. I tried to program him a little bit going into the.
No, you're doing great.
It's all good. What's on your mind, Matt?
Well, what's on my mind is that everybody, as much as we love Lane Hudson so far in his early in his career, now it's late in the season. Now it's time to stop ignoring that he's now a veteran of the season, and I feel like he's driving our offense, and we expect him to drive the offense. So I'd like to see him shoot the puck a lot more. He seems to always be looking for the pass and the assist, and when he's quarterbacking the offense, I would like to see him shoot the puck a lot more. I feel like we're here screaming our heads off all night long about please shoot the puck more. We only have 15 shots on net, and we're dying for offense. Please shoot the puck a little bit more and try to create more offense in that regard instead of passing all the time. I feel like that's, I don't know, maybe it's I'm nitpicking a bit on him because he's such a young player, but
Matt, he doesn't.
He can do a lot more to create more offense in that regard. Put the puck on the net. These guys.
Matt, he doesn't have a great shot. He doesn't have a great shot, Pierre.
No, he's working on a shot on a daily basis, and it'll get better. But this reminds me a lot of Phil Housley when he broke in with the Buffalo Sabres back way back when in the early 1980s. Same kind of deal. Came out of South St. Paul High School. Didn't have a great shot, but spent a lot of time around Gilbert Perreault and those guys. And eventually he got a real good shot, and it got him to the Hockey Hall of Fame. He's a 20-year-old player. His shot's going to get better. Don't worry. It'll be there. Don't worry, Matt.
But doesn't any shot is a shot better than no shot at all? Because he can be putting the puck towards the net and creating offense in that regard, especially when we're starving for offense like we were tonight. I feel like the effort was there tonight, and they played a pretty good game. They had breakaways where they didn't capitalize on those opportunities, yes, but so many times he's such a water bug out there where he's spinoramas and creating opportunity, and then he's not capitalizing on those opportunities where maybe I'm seeing it from a different perspective watching at home, and I'm not seeing his shooting lane or his perspective, but I just feel like he could, maybe I'm wrong, but.
No, you're not wrong, but you just said something that's really true. So I can tell you what happens in a meeting when you play the Montreal Canadiens. There's certain guys you say you got to take away his space, you got to attack him this way. So one of those guys is Suzuki, another guy is Caulfield, and the third guy would be the guy that he's talking about, Lane Hudson. And they mark up on Lane Hudson and close down his shooting avenues, and he doesn't want shots blocked. You've seen that earlier this year, and I know Brian's so up on this stuff. Brian, how many times have you seen him get a shot block and guys go the other way for short-handed or 5-on-5 breakaways? Because that's how
he's really careful. Yeah, and he's very careful about that. It's like he will say if somebody's in his lane, he'll make sure that that shot isn't blocked, and he'll dance along that blue line as much as he can. And I would like to add just one final thought to that. I find too with Lane a lot is if he looks up and when he's looking and assessing his options, if he sees somebody in front of the net, and this is what I want from Slafkovsky more and more, if he sees somebody in front of the net in a position that it can either screen or deflect, he will choose just to float one in. It doesn't have a ton on it. It's only got 65 miles per hour on it. There's nothing wrong with that because if Slafkovsky's got his stick there, that's a deflection a goalie can't save 5 feet in front of him. So I think Lane's about as smart a hockey player as I've ever seen, especially for a rookie. And I'm certainly not going to sit here as somebody who never played the game at his level and criticize him. I just think he's a miracle to me.
Yeah,
he's a 20-year-old miracle.
Yeah, he's a phenom, is what he is. I don't know if you guys heard that noise, but I think maybe somebody put some players' names in a blender trying to come up with new lines on Sunday, but no idea what that was. But to answer somebody's message on YouTube, it definitely was not me making protein shakes. I can tell you that right now. All right, we got Mark. Mark, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, guys. How are you tonight?
Good, Mark. Thank you.
So a couple of things. Number one, Pierre, you're an icon. I love what you have to say about hockey. Tony, you got good hair. And Mr. Wilde, love your writing. Love the way you write. I enjoyed reading you.
All right.
That's a good synopsis.
So Pierre is unbelievable at hockey. Brian, who is a writer, is unbelievable at writing. And me, who I've done radio for the last 20 years and podcasts for the last 5. And TV for the last 22. I got great hair. Okay, good.
He's just having fun with you.
I know he is.
I knew I would piss you off, so that's fine. That's what
exactly.
Yeah, no. And you know what? You accomplished that, let me tell you. Go ahead.
He's happy.
Couple of comments. Number one, this whole thing about fatigue, when I do the math, 20 minutes, a good hockey player, 20 minutes for 80 games, that's 24 hours of playing hockey. Call it 50 hours of practicing. Come on, guys. Fatigue, bullshit. Number two, the tax situation. I live in the U.S.
Hold on a second. Hold on. What? No. Did you just say that fatigue for these players right now, it's bullshit? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Well, okay.
No. Is that what you said? Yes or no?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
yes.
So Josh Anderson being so hurt that he's had 2 practices in the last 2 months because he can't practice for how hurt he is, and he's playing through incredible pain to pay the games. Nick Suzuki, who hasn't had a second-line centerman all season, who's been the second most used forward in the entire National Hockey League, and doesn't have the luxury of a second-line centerman the way Austin Matthews does or Connor McDavid does or so many other players, has to have those hard matchups game in and game out, has to play that much to carry the team on his back. Mike Matheson, knowing that Marty St. Louis was without Caden Gooley for 27 games, and he's got an Arber Xhekaj whose game he doesn't trust very much, and a David Savard who no longer has the mobility that he used to have, and a Struble who's a 6'7", has to play Matheson 27 or 28 minutes. And this team that finished 5th last for the last 2 years is in the mix with 10 games left. They're 1 point behind. Samuel Montembeault went from playing 41 games to 54 games. Everyone has to give something that they can't, that they don't even have. They're going above and beyond. They're a decimated team. They're a depleted team. They're a team that doesn't have enough depth, but yet they're here. Patrick Laine missed the first couple of months of the season, only joined the team on December 2nd. They don't have a second line, and they're doing this, and you don't think they're tired? Is that what you just said?
Here's what I'm saying.
Yeah, tell me what you're saying.
What I'm saying.
Yeah, tell me.
There are 1,000 NHL hockey players in the NHL, right?
750. 750.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. So if there's a billion hockey players that want to play hockey, you are 1,000. Show up, man. Just show up. Don't tell me you're tired. Just show up.
Yeah. You know what? You and I want to play hockey too, but we're not good enough. Like, okay.
I agree with you. You got good hair, and I got good hair too. That's what we have.
You know, I'm sorry. Fatigue is not an excuse. It's not. It's not an excuse. It's a reality. It's a reality. And I'm going to tell you something. I could tell already in the chat that a lot of people are saying they charter and this and that and whatever, and they eat well, and you know what? They're millionaires and they play a game. Pierre, you know how hard these players work. Being a professional athlete is 12 months a year. 12 months a year. All right. It's a lot of work. Pierre?
Well, unfortunately, people can't go into medical rooms during the season and see what these guys go through to play. If you saw what some of my players had to go through when we were winning Stanley Cups in Pittsburgh, you'd say to me, this is bordering on barbarianism. This shouldn't happen to human beings. So I know people don't want to hear that because of how much money these guys make, but I'm telling you right now, they lay it out there. And it's not pleasant to watch. I had one player that had to take shots, and I'll show you, a needle from there to there before every game. And I'd go into the training room with him, and he wouldn't miss a game, and he'd start to cry when the needle would go through his hand. So with all due respect, Mark, I got to tell you, fatigue is a real part of this thing, and so is pain, a lot of pain.
You know, Mark, I'd like to add, if I could, from a quick anecdote from 1982. This is a famous one that Wayne Gretzky says all the time. We were in the playoffs. We thought we were the greatest. We thought we were going to win the cup. We faced the New York Islanders, and they won the cup. And we walked by their room and thought they were going to all be celebrating how their fact that they beat us for the Stanley Cup in the finals. And they were all sitting there, and they were just so dead they couldn't even raise their arms. And he said, in that moment, we learned what it took. And then the next year, they moved on to winning cups themselves. So it takes everything out of them. And you have not played a game, you don't understand it. You have to have done it, or you have to have seen them in the room. You have to be a part of their pain to feel it, or you just see, oh, what a lovely chartered meal they have. It's indescribable if you haven't seen it. But once you've seen it, you know it, and you never forget it. You never forget it. Because you see what they go through.
You know, with all due respect to my son, I don't want to pretend. If I can, Mark, with all due respect to my son, I don't want to pretend like he's this high level athlete, because obviously, with all due respect,
sure he is, Tony.
Well, no, what I want to say, I mean, he's not at the level of, we're talking about, the elite.
He's a high level athlete,
right? Okay, so I'm going to tell you this. All right, he trained 3 times today. He ran 10 kilometers today. He went to the gym for 2 hours and 15 minutes to work on his body, and he went to the park to train and work on his shot and work on his moves at 8:45 p.m. Eastern. It's 10:59. He's still there at the park. The lights went out 59 minutes ago. He's leaving now at 11 to come back. This is an athlete who plays right now, low level. These guys are this times. When I saw these guys at the Four Nations face-off, and they just played a game at unbelievable speed. It was the fastest hockey I saw in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, after the game, where they laid it all on the line, Nathan McKinnon and Connor McDavid were on the bike, and they were pedaling like you couldn't believe. I couldn't believe my eyes.
Okay, so guys,
there's a reason why they make the money they make, Mark, and I know people are going to hate to hear this. They deserve it. You want to know why? I live in a world where I really believe that the 750 in the world that are the best at what they do, no matter what they do, they should all make millions.
So here's what I'm telling you guys. I agree with every single thing you're saying. And the reason I brought it up is because I have friends and you have friends. We all have friends that believe that these guys are elitists in their own sport. But I will tell you this, I cannot hit a fastball from any kid that's even a minor leaguer. I cannot stop a puck from a minor leaguer. And I know what it takes to be that good. So I agree with everything you guys are saying. And fatigue is a point. I only brought it up so that you could say it out loud to people that are listening. The second thing I want to say, though, is taxes. And this is a place where I know, and I can't stop a puck, where I can't shoot a puck the way these guys do. But I will tell you this. There are state taxes in the U.S., like Florida and Texas, that are non-existent, but that's 5 to 10 or 11%, depending where you live. And there are financial analysts that can take care of that, right? So if you live in California, it's 11% state tax. If you live in Chicago, it's 5%. If you live in Florida, it's 0%. The federal tax rate in the U.S. is far better than it is in Canada. I agree with that. So living in the U.S. and paying tax in the U.S. is better than living in Canada. I agree with that. So if you're a hockey player, there's a lot of money left on the table if you play in Canada. But you know what? If you got the right financial analyst and you have the right resources tax-wise, you can get through that. And this other thing about playing hockey in warm weather versus cold weather, these guys are hockey players. They're born and raised in playing hockey in cold weather. So don't tell me that playing in California is a fun thing. I don't think any hockey player that's ever played hockey in their lives would enjoy playing hockey in California, aside from the taxes and the pretty women and, you know, all that other stuff. The reality is, we keep using these excuses. Let's play hockey. Fatigue. I agree with you, Pierre and Mr. Wilde, and I can't wait for your article on Monday. And Tony, I was only kidding about your hair. You're actually a pretty good podcast.
Thank you.
You're actually a pretty good podcast.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate you taking the time. Thanks so much.
Just one quick thought on the weather. I've had maybe 100 guys tell me how much they love living in warm climes so they can play golf.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Again, it's just the reality. They
Guys,
love golfing.
We're over.
So many of them.
We're over an hour in now. Why don't we take one call, maybe 3 more questions, and that'll be it for this Friday night. Let's go to Adam, who will be the final caller tonight on the Habs podcast, but we will take a couple of questions. Adam, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going, Tony, Pierre, and Brian? Nice talking to you guys.
Hi, Adam.
Just calling from Comox here. Just a question on some of the play tonight. It seems like I know Carolina's definitely a contender compared to us, and that's where we need to go. But it seems like we were waiting for the game to come to us, whereas we're a team built on speed. Should we not be chasing it? And the other question I have is, since we dressed 7 defensemen tonight and we had Xhekaj going and Goalie was obviously going to play more, why not throw Xhekaj as a forward and reinforce the forecheck?
Pierre?
That's actually a good thought. It's something I thought they might do later on in the game to try to generate some space, but I think they were probably so mad at him after that play that they said, you know what, you're going to sit down. You're not getting any more ice time.
Pierre, I you know what? Even if he wasn't mad at him, I don't think Marty St. Louis was at an opportunity. He's been here for 37 months to be able to put Arber Xhekaj at a forward position, put him on a fourth line every now and then for, you know, there were many instances where we're saying the Canadiens need an enforcer on their fourth line or the Canadiens have so many young players on defense and he never did it. I don't think he feels it. I don't think he's ever going to do something like that.
I think that's more than fair. I think you're right. But all I can tell you is After he made that play, I was like, he's done. I knew right away they were reeling it in.
And by the way, we know in the history of the Montreal Canadiens too how many players of defensemen who have moved up to play forward. It's been done before. We talked
Rick
about
Charchard, Jimmy Roberts. They were important players.
Yeah, the late Zarley Zalapski, and that
Big G.
And that playoff series versus Alain Vigneault versus the Pittsburgh Penguins when Alain Vigneault was coach and Dave King was his assistant.
King and Alain, 100%.
Yeah, they played the 2 forwards, 3 back system, and Zarley Zalapski was playing left wing, but he was actually coming back as a D.
And Kevin Constantine couldn't figure it out for Pittsburgh. Couldn't figure it out, Kevin.
Anyway, a couple of questions. Let's get to 3 questions if we can. Gregory Debo sends over $5. Thank you for that. Shotgun questions for you guys on the Habs. Who is the best defensive forward, defensive defenseman, team MVP, and unsung hero for this season?
Go ahead, Tony.
You got nice hair. Give it a shot.
Team MVP. I'm going to have to go with. I'm going to have to go with Nick Suzuki, team MVP. Unsung hero. I don't think anyone expected Lane Hudson to be able to do what he's done. So can we go with Lane Hudson? I mean, if we would have said going into the season that Lane Hudson is going to put up 60 points and he's going to average 25 minutes a game, I think we would have thought that. I think their best defensive forward. Oof.
I'll say Jake Evans. I
was going to say Jake Evans, but I think Nick Suzuki has the potential to also be that guy.
Yeah. I'll say Jake.
And defensive defenseman? When healthy, Caden Gooley.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I agree with you on the MVP. I agree with you on the unsung hero. I think Jake, and I agree with Brian on Caden Gooley when he's healthy.
More questions. Couple more. In the meantime, I can tell you that want to give a shout out to Betway. If I can, go all the way with Betway and get a free bet of $200. If your first bet loses, scan the QR code on the screen. Click on the link in the details section to create an account. Redeem your welcome offer. Offers only available for new customers. Terms and conditions apply. Not available in Ontario. Must be 18 years of age and older. And please, please play responsibly. All right. Pierre, would you sign Sam Harris?
Yeah. First of all, Denver won tonight. They beat Providence
easily.
And they did and Sam Harris scored a goal in the game. Would I bring him in for a playoff push? No, I don't think he's ready for that yet.
I'll only add to that Pierre, I heard you last week. You're doing a great job on the college hockey. Really enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, I enjoyed doing it. I'm grateful to the ECAC. I do the women's tournament and the men's. Love doing it.
I only heard you on the men's. I won't lie.
The women's was amazing. Cornell went to the
didn't get your women action.
Hey, speaking of Denver, we've talked about this before, but that Zeev Buyam turned out to be a pretty amazing draft pick for the Minnesota Wild at 12 overall, eh?
Cheapers.
He'll be right in there. Him and Brock Faber will be steering that ship for a long time in Mini.
Pierre,
he's the best defenseman in college hockey I've watched regularly since Jake Sanderson. I thought Jake at the end of his career was absolutely dominating.
Jake left after his second year too, so you're spot on that. I took a lot of trips to North Dakota to get him out of there too.
I love Jake.
Yeah, Jake's special.
Be a star, man.
I'm just trying to think with Buyam. Yeah, he'd be the best guy around the country right now. He'd be the best guy.
At 12.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's scary.
Yeah, that was a pick.
Yep.
Pierre, I want to ask you something with John Tortorella being relieved of his duties and Brad Shaw being named the interim. There's names that I keep on hearing over and over again, and you'll tell me if there's names that we can add. Brad Shaw is one to end up getting the job full-time with the Philadelphia Flyers. Rick Tocchet, who's in the final year of his contract, you would think that the fan base in Philadelphia would absolutely love him. Ian LaPerriere is a name that I've heard. I don't know how much.
He's done a great job with Lehigh Valley. He's very popular. He was a longtime assistant there. He's got a great relationship with Keith Jones. He's got a great relationship with Danny Briere.
And how about the coach at the University of Denver, David Carl?
I think there's another city where he's going to end up before he goes to Philadelphia.
Tony, can I ask a question of the McGuire report?
Sure, but I just want to know, in the end, who do you think is going to get that job?
If I put my money on, I'd put Rick Tocchet on there. And I'll tell you why.
Oh.
There's one thing that's gone on there that people don't want to talk about. There are a lot of empty seats there. And Rick Tocchet is the only one of those coaches that can sell season ticket packages and win hockey games. I'm just telling you.
Brian, you had a question?
I had a question for the McGuire report, yes. Pierre, first-time caller?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, my question is, the picks the Canadiens have this year are probably going to be both mid-teens, somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 and 18. Is the value of that pick a little lower this year than it has been in the last 2 or 3 years with a kind of a thin draft this year, it feels like?
Yes, sir. The next 2 drafts are going to be thin, past 10. So you're spot on, 100% right. Some of it's COVID related, some of it's numbers related, and some of it's just cyclical. But no, you're right on. Definitely not the same. You're not going to get the same return. I don't think you're going to see a Cole Eiserman at 20 or a Michael Hayes, in that number. I don't think there's anything like that. No.
All right.
Which means the 15th pick, 17th pick, if Kent Hughes loses that pick, is the year to do it, maybe.
If I were going to do it, this would be the year to do it.
Gentlemen, thank you so
hang
much.
Up now.
No, don't worry about it. You can stick around, but thank you so much. And bad night for the Montreal Canadiens. They lose by a score of 4-1 to the Hurricanes in Carolina. To top it all off, the Columbus Blue Jackets end up beating the Vancouver Canucks by a score of 7-6 in a shootout. And the game is not over between the New York Rangers and the Anaheim Ducks, but the Rangers are up by a score of 3-1. Alexis Lafreniere scored early on in period number 2. The Rangers are up by a score of 3-1 with 16 minutes to go in period number 2. And so this would be really, really bad news for the Montreal Canadiens because once again, the Blue Jackets now have the same amount of points as the Canadiens, and the Canadiens have played one more game. If the Rangers win, they'll go 1 point up on the Canadiens, and the Rangers will end up in the second wild card spot. But the Rangers will have played 2 games more than Columbus and 1 game more than the Canadiens. And now all of a sudden, the Canadiens who were in a playoff spot yesterday would now have 2 teams in front of them, not to mention that the Islanders are 1 point behind and the Islanders have a game in hand on the Montreal Canadiens. It's not going to be easy, but there is 10 games left in the season. And after the Canadiens get this next game out of the way on Sunday afternoon in Florida, most of their games between now and the end of the year will actually be played in Montreal. And as Brian said, it's a much easier schedule between now and the end of the year. Gentlemen, thank you so much for staying around this late on a Friday night. Much appreciated. Thank you again. We'll do it again sometime soon.
Brian, thank you. Awesome to be with you. Tony, do we have a date on Sunday afternoon?
I don't know for certain because I'm at a fundraiser, so I'm going to have to see what I can do.
Brian, this has been a pleasure. Thank you.
Always a pleasure for me. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for the opportunity.
If not, Pierre, we will definitely talk again on Tuesday night after the Canadiens and the Florida Panthers. Special thanks to all of you for sticking around and watching. Don't despair. There are 10 games left, and we'll see what happens. We'll be back sometime on Tuesday, on Monday night for sure. We'll be back, but who knows? Maybe we'll do something on Sunday as well. Take a look at our Twitter account. Take a look at our Instagram account. Take a look at everything. And, of course, we're going to be very, very active on that. Leave us a 5-star review. It's our way of feeling the love for Agnello and Sammy at Master Control. It's a sick podcast. I'm Marinaro. Have a great weekend.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. LaBita.tb, embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.